Welcome to the summary of Conversationally Speaking, Tested New Ways to Increase Your Personal and Social Effectiveness by Alan Garner. Let's uncover the gems together. Key point 1. The shyness superhero. Some superheroes step up and bravely save the world when needed. They feel comfortable in the limelight, wear cool costumes, and flex their superpowers. Yet there is another group of characters, shy superheroes. Their motto is save the day by avoiding social interactions. They stay silent in companies because they're afraid to say something wrong and struggle to make friends because of high self-consciousness. Does this sound like you sometimes? In truth, social discomfort can be a real barrier to your professional and personal growth. But the good news is that you're not doomed. Social clumsiness is not a diagnosis. In most cases, it's just a lack of skills. If your personality is a star in the sky, your social skills are the telescope that allows people to see it. What's more exciting is that, by following along, you'll find practical tools to help you feel more at home in social settings. Are you ready to have captivating conversations and stop blushing with every round of small talk? Then stay tuned. Key point 2. Ask, but don't interrogate. Let's start our exploration by talking about questions, the secret sauce of great conversations. The questions you ask can turn a chat into a memorable exchange or a dead end. Of course, thinking of new questions on the spot can be challenging, but use your imagination and go for it. Picture this: you meet someone new, and all you've got are interrogation-like questions such as, "Where are you from?" or "Do you jog?" Sure, these closed-ended questions get quick answers, but they also make you sound like you're interviewing someone. Being socially awkward is not a character trait. In most cases, it results from a lack of conversational skills. Now, open-ended questions? The magic happens here. These are the tell me everything invitations. Instead of how was your trip to Prague, you ask, what was the most unforgettable part of your vacation? Boom, you're no longer just chatting. You've started a vivid conversation that's likely to continue flowing from one subject to the next. For some, asking open-ended questions can bring new colors into their relationship. For example, imagine your significant other returning home from work. If you ask, "How was it?" you'll likely get fine for an answer. Even though you are eager to talk, that type of question doesn't help create a lively exchange. However, a good strategy is to pay attention to the news throughout the day. Later, during dinner, you can say, "Today, I read that they're bringing back the foreign language requirement for college students. What do you think about that?" Such a prompt might stir your chat in an interesting direction, and you might learn more about your partner's views on education. As you can see, kickstarting a conversation takes some creativity and thinking. Keep it curious, keep it fun, and watch your connections deepen. Of course, in small talk, the trick is to mix it up. Start with a quick closed-ended question to warm up, then dive into open-ended ones to keep the energy flowing. It's like setting up a trampoline, a quick bounce, then letting the conversation soar. Key point 3. The art of tuning in. A good communicator is an excellent listener. However, the tricky part is that simply listening without interrupting is not enough. It might be enough if you don't want to come across as rude but insufficient to establish a deeper connection. Therefore, a really good listener is the one who makes people go, "Wow, you actually get me?" So, let's unpack how to become that person. Usually, people don't befriend you just because they like you. It's how they feel around you. Contrary to many opinions, active listening isn't about nodding and throwing in "uh-huh" or "that's crazy." It's about showing the other person you hear them and displaying empathy. Say your friend goes, "I'm so fed up with hustling odd jobs, but I can't find any good openings." You don't just say, "That sucks." Instead, try, "Sounds like you're feeling stuck and ready for something new at the same time. It's an interesting situation." Such a response makes them feel validated and heard. You show them that you don't just receive the information from their answers, but also make an effort to understand their feelings behind it. Mastering how to listen is also a game changer for your romantic relationships. Take this classic couple moment. The wife complains, "Do you really have to go out tonight?" Instead of snapping back, the husband can say, "Honey, do you feel like I'm not spending enough quality time with you these days?" Suddenly, they're talking about their emotional needs instead of having a pointless argument. People who are good at conversation just know a few simple skills that anyone can learn. Alan Garner. And here's a golden tip. Resist the urge to fix everything. When someone shares their struggle with you, don't feel obliged to give advice or provide a solution. In almost all situations, people will appreciate your empathy way more than your know-how. Key point 4. Let your personality shine. Let's be honest. Nobody bonds over, "Yeah, the weather's fine." If you want meaningful relationships, you've got to let people see who you are. However, skillful self-presentation does not mean spilling your life story on day one or stating facts. It's more like peeling an onion, one layer at a time, preferably without the tears. Start with the basics. Instead of saying, "I'm a teacher," add, "I love seeing kids get that aha moment. It's the best part of my job." Suddenly, you're not only a teacher, but someone passionate and relatable. Sharing how something makes you feel is like inviting someone into your inner world. Imagine you're chatting about your favorite book. Instead of "I liked it," say, "It reminded me of growing up with my siblings. Chaotic, but heartwarming." See the difference? Feelings add depth and make conversations stick. Now, people want to tell you about their childhood or ask more questions about your family. Nevertheless, don't make the conversation all about you. Think of it like a game of ping pong. Share a little, see what they share, then go back and forth. This strategy keeps things balanced and fun. Self-esteem is key. People will respect you if you show you believe in yourself and what you stand for. Here's a practical example of casual self-presentation with a new neighbor. "Hey, you're new to this neighborhood, aren't you?" "Yes, my company opened an office here, and I had to move to get a promotion. I'm a marketing manager now." "Wow, great. So it might be challenging to establish working relationships in a new place, right?" "I'm an architect and have to do it every time I get a project in another city." "Architect, huh? We're about to plan a new headquarters in the city center. Do you have a business card?" At the end of the day, sharing who you are doesn't have to feel like a therapy session. It's about giving people a glimpse into your world so they feel connected. And who knows, you might just make new connections to propel your career forward. Key point 5. It's time to take a risk. We all know that people usually don't just stumble into success. It takes action and determination. So, why do we think relationships are different? Let's examine this further. You never know what precious relationships await on the other side of your social insecurity. Imagine you find yourself at a party in an art studio. The person who invited you disappeared, and you started feeling uncomfortable, like sailing on a wooden plank in an open sea. Should I call a taxi and go home? Nobody will notice I've gone. But just before you call an Uber, try these strategies. First, use conversation starters. Forget the pressure of saying something profound. Instead, comment on what's around you. You can say, "Wow, these snacks are dangerously good," and voila, you're talking with a stranger. But don't stop there. Toss in an open-ended question like, "What brought you here tonight?" People love sharing, and you've just made it easy for them. You see, you wanted to bail a few minutes before, but now you're having a fun-filled chat. Now, to turn strangers into meaningful connections, you must show initiative. Unfortunately, the straightforward "let's be friends" that worked in kindergarten no longer works in adult life. But don't lose heart. Start small. Instead of, "I'd really like to spend time with you because I think we'd be great friends," try, "I'm going to a museum this Saturday. Do you want to join me?" That way, you appear calm and inviting. You and I and everyone else are a bit like turtles. We only make progress when we stick our necks out a little. Alan Garner. Remember that most people around you want to build connections too. It's not that you're being intrusive or needy. So if you keep your invitations casual and fun, they're likely to reciprocate. Key point 6. Socially awkward people can thrive. Social anxiety can feel like that annoying relative who shows up uninvited. But the good news is you can ease it with a few simple recommendations. Here are a few suggestions to help you become more confident in social situations. Be your own support. We all have that little voice saying, "What if I say something silly?" But here's a secret. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves to notice your slip-ups. Instead of thinking, "This is going to be a disaster," Tell yourself, it might be awkward for a second, but I'll survive. Don't take yourself too seriously. Even if you fail to start a conversation smoothly, don't save it in your head with the label terrible. Say to yourself, yeah, it was inconvenient, and try to laugh about it. It's amazing how much calmer you'll feel. Prep like a pro. If small talk makes you sweat, have a few go-to lines ready. For instance, ask the person sitting next to you at a work conference what they think about the last presentation or session. People love to share their opinions. It's practically a universal law. Reframe rejection. In the end, it's not like you're proposing to the love of your life every day. You can handle minor awkward moments in day-to-day situations because they are not a big deal. The easier you overcome those inconveniences, the faster you train your social muscles. The fear of rejection limits your life more than the rejection would. Social anxiety doesn't have to run the show. You can overcome those nerve-wracking moments with a little self-talk, some dash of humor. Plus, you'll probably make a few friends along the way. Did you know? The spotlight effect is the tendency to overestimate how much others notice our actions or appearance. In reality, most people are far more preoccupied with their own concerns. Conclusion. Being socially confident isn't about flawless conversations or witty one-liners. It's about creating genuine connections and understanding that even small actions can lead to big improvements. Fighting one social fear at a time, you can find new friends, new job opportunities, or even romantic relationships. Remember, social skills grow with practice, and mistakes are part of the process. So, don't be hard on yourself. The more you step out of your comfort zone, the easier it becomes. Starting small, you can broaden your social circle, and who knows how it will benefit your life? Try this. Intentionally get to know people. Start by grabbing coffee with a colleague or neighbor. Change the way you approach conversations with close friends. Try to ask open-ended questions and show curiosity about their way of thinking. In your next interactions, practice reflecting on others' feelings to show empathy. That's all for now. More intriguing summaries are just a click away.